Hello, friends and fellow adventurers. This is Tyler here, the Game Master for the MinMax podcast. I wanted to just take a few minutes to connect with you guys, give you a message. It's been a little bit since I've talked with you, so I just want to give you some updates about where the podcast is at and some plans for the very near future in 2025 that I would like to share with you as well. It's been a little bit since I've done one of these videos. I think it was 2022. The last time I got in front of a camera and talked directly to you guys. It's been a while because I've had some stuff going on at home and family and personal life. Luckily, everything is now okay, and I'm getting a chance to reclaim some time that I had lost over the last couple of years. So you're going to be seeing some more updates from me on the Patreon page specifically, more regularly, coming very shortly. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk with you guys about this. So, well, first things first, let's just give a quick acknowledgement on this. It's been 5 years now, just over 5 years, since both Pathfinder 2nd Edition's release and the launch of the MinMax podcast. And things have been great. I don't necessarily have any major things to say about our journey up until this point. The biggest thing for me is that, I appreciate you all in whatever capacity that you support us, whether it's just listening, giving, another number that goes up, in the statistics for episodes that you download, or engagement when you send us messages, whether it's through Discord or emails or the website or however you're choosing to engage with us. We really appreciate all of that. And, 5 years on, that hasn't changed at all. It still brightens my day when I get messages from you guys. So I thank you very much for all of your support, especially our patrons, our longest standing patrons, and some of our biggest supporters have been really, supportive. And it's been super surprising, and I'm just very thankful. I am very grateful for everything, and as always, thank you. So, first things first, all that out of the way, let's talk a little bit about the main feed, just some quick updates on where we're at. As of the recording of this video, end of January here of 2025, we are about halfway through the actual releases of Bloodlords, and those are still going strong. We got weekly releases on that. They don't always sit on the same day, but they're getting to you weekly, minus a couple of holidays here and there, and that's going to continue. Nothing changes there. Unlike the release, though, we as a table have actually finished Bloodlords. There's some really fun stuff that's coming up, especially in the last half of the book, of the adventure. I expect at the rate we're going now, and because of the fact that the latter half of the adventure does go a little bit faster than the first half of the adventure, not only is that typically how we play, but with the way that certain things happened in the plot and in the story, it just kind of moved a little quicker than I think this would normally take. All that being said, I suspect we're looking at toward the end of this year when the finale of Bloodlords gets released. I'm going to just throw a guess out there and say we're likely shooting at probably September, October, maybe. Obviously, don't hold me to that, but that's just kind of my expectation as of right now. Since we've finished recording Bloodlords, we haven't stopped playing, and we've kind of gotten to a point with our game nights where turning on the recording to start a new, campaign or to sit down and play a session is just kind of built into us, and that's just how we play now after 5 years of doing it. We've always been a group that's been you get what you get when you're listening to us. This is the way we've always played to an extent. Of course, when you put a microphone in front of somebody's face, they're going to be a little bit different. There's no doubt about that. But all of the players are now very comfortable, to the point where it's not something that's thought about during the session. And that's what we had really always wanted. We wanted it to just be something that was tertiary, releasing the podcast, I should say. So for us personally, it was always tertiary to us just having game nights and playing and having fun. So again, that hasn't changed, and that won't change. That being said, what we are now playing is Season of Ghosts. And as of this moment, we actually have finished through the first book of Season of Ghosts. And David actually is going to be, or is, game mastering that game for us. When Bloodlords is finished, I suspect that we'll be releasing Season of Ghosts on the main feed. And that's very likely what is going to follow. Now, of course, by the time we get finished with Bloodlords, there is a very real possibility that we'll also be done with Season of Ghosts. And it's possible at that point that we'll choose a different adventure if something really catches our eye for the main show. And we'll do that if, we reserve the right to do that, I suppose I should say. So, yeah. That's what we're looking forward to at the end of 2025 with the main feed. Now, the other thing that I wanted to update you all on was some small changes, but they're big. Some very big changes with the Patreon that are coming in the second half of this year. I have been working, while David's been running Season of Ghosts, and a little bit before that even, I've been working on a homebrew campaign since about September. So it's been about 3-4 months now that I've been working on this. And it's a homebrew adventure that I'm putting down on paper. Well, more specifically, I'm putting it down into Foundry. But, of course, I'm doing all the prep regarding it. And since I'm doing all that work, I've decided that with the Patreon, the homebrew adventure is going to be something that I will, again, beginning in the second half of 2025, begin releasing this adventure as I'm developing it. Now, I have a decent amount of work done on it right now. I probably have about, I'm up through level 4 in the actual adventure itself. There's a lot of front matter for this particular adventure because it has makes use of a handful of variant rules and a couple of other strange, what's the word I'm looking for? Pre-qualifiers, if you will, that aren't typical to Paizo adventures. So that's my plan. That's what you can expect actually in the Patreon coming very soon. Now, you might ask, okay, well, it doesn't sound like this is going to be for the main feed since I just talked about either Season of Ghosts or some other game potentially being on the main feed after Bloodlords, and you would be correct. This is where a lot of the really big changes come in. Once tax season is over, so again, probably looking around March or April, we are going to begin recording our playthrough of the homebrew adventure, which I am calling The Looming Tower. And The Looming Tower will be available on our Patreon as a free feed. So you will not need to be a paid Patreon member in order to listen to this show, just to receive the PDFs of the content that I'm actually putting out. And you'll be able to listen to us go through this homebrew adventure on the Patreon feed. Again, totally for free. What you're going to get as far as releases go, we're going to be releasing, I will be releasing the actual content of the adventure, so the PDF pages of what we are doing as we are recording and releasing these. So unlike how we normally do our games, this one's going to have a little more of a show front to it at the table, I should say. And because of that, I'm going to be using all of the funds that you all support us with. We're going to be using to hire an editor to handle all editing for all of the Looming Tower recordings as they happen. We will be recording and releasing those episodes within a week or two of each other. What I mean by that is that what we play on game night is what will be released on the Patreon feed after a lighter edit than what we're used to as a podcast. So that when these episodes release, you can get the piece of content or the encounters that are run in the episodes, all of the tables and the adventure details as they're occurring. So you can kind of either run this in tandem with us, with your friends or your own table, or you can just see it as it comes out for the story that it is as it's coming out. However you want to get that content, it'll be there for you in that capacity. So yeah, yeah. I'm very, very excited. I can't tell you how excited I am. I've got some really crazy ideas for this adventure. At least I think they're crazy. And I've already gotten to the point where I've got some concept art put up for this. If you've been in the Discord in the VIP tent, everybody who is a patron gets access to that. But if you've been in the VIP tent, you've seen me post this concept art. I'll put it on the screen now. This is the concept art for the Looming Tower. Now, a quick elevator pitch for this adventure, because I don't want to leave you totally hanging. Should I just read the first page of the introduction? Now, I got to get good at pitching this to people. So this adventure is a level 0 through 20 adventure path that's split into 3 acts. And the heroes for this adventure are not on Golarion, not necessarily. The heroes for this adventure are actually inhabitants of other planets, and those planets can be anything. It can be Earth. You could pull characters could be from sci-fi fantasy backgrounds or sci-fantasy backgrounds, or like sword and sorcery worlds and things like that. And essentially, sorry, and I'm already bad at the elevator pitch here, our heroes get pulled from their everyday world, from their everyday lives, by an entity known as the Looming Tower. The Looming Tower is an interdimensional, sentient plane of existence. And the Looming Tower pulls the heroes into it in order to challenge them, in order to pit them against something called the Ascent. And as they ascend the tower, they discover more and more about the Looming Tower and the entities that live and operate inside of the tower. It is definitely, if you didn't catch on, it is a very it's popular right now for sure in anime culture, but it's very isekai. The sort of being reincarnated or going into another world. Isekai is actually a subgenre of a very it's a staple in human literature called portal fantasy. Portal fantasy has been around for a very long time. The Chronicles of Narnia, for example. Alice in Wonderland is a portal fantasy story. Digimon from when we were kids, that cartoon show, that's a portal fantasy. So portal fantasy is very prevalent in human literature. So it's an idea that I wanted to play with, and that's not something that you really get to see at a tabletop adventure very often, because sitting around with your friends and playing through an adventure, or telling stories with rolling dice and all that sort of on its own is a little bit portal fantasy. So the idea is a bit tongue-in-cheek in that regard. But again, I'm very excited to share with you all what we've been working on. And to kind of wrap this whole thing up, I will let you know that once the release date for this show has been solidified, like I said, I'm expecting March or April at this point on the Patreon feed, I will make an official announcement. But until then, since I won't be changing any details about the Patreon tiers until that time, if you're not in the Discord and you want to talk about the adventure, or even you want to take part in the development of it, come to the VIP tent in the Discord. I'm posting little tidbits about development as they occur. Just today, I posted a homebrew reaction that I'm making for the adventure called With Style. And it's tied into the reputation subsystem that's going to be present in the adventure. So anyways, little details there. I'm also going to be, when I need it, which will happen, and I've already actually done a few of these already, but another benefit that you all will get being a patron is the ability to play test these encounters as I'm developing them ahead of time. I need to make sure that before I totally hit the crew with something completely off balance, I want to try to knock out as many kinks as I can. And although I can solo play things pretty well on this end, thank you, Foundry, it's still good to have other brains and eyes. So if that's something that you would like to do, play testing for this comes first serve, First come, first serve to patrons when I announce it. And when it occurs, I'll be announcing it in the Discord, so you can check it out and pay attention for that there. And that's pretty much it. This is my fourth take on this. I rambled for like 40 minutes on the first one. I really didn't want to take that long. I didn't have a ton of information to deliver you. But trust me, if you let me just talk about nothing for an a determined amount of time, I'll go. Especially when there's no one else in the room to tell me I'm talking too much. Anyways, thanks again for everybody. I will keep you up to date, and you'll see another post from me very shortly. Thank you all very much. I love you. We'll talk to you soon. It's your turn.